All right. So we just literally had a coaching client where this happened to him. And that's what today's episode is all about. And that is this. From time to time, as you know, we'll have people that of the right mindset and character trait join our coaching program. And on the coaching call, literally this week on Monday, he said to me, he said, hey, listen, I'm brand new to real estate. Should I start prospecting right now, even though I don't know the scripts? And what happens if I set an appointment? I have no idea what to do on the appointment. And through the conversation today, I'm going to share exactly what I believe is the right way to do it, to go about being productive. He took that advice. He made the call anyway. He went on an appointment. He got a listing. He just posted in our group yesterday that he took the listing, not knowing like what he's even doing, right? And so what is the point? The point is, there's a huge, massive difference between learning the knowledge and talking about what you want to accomplish and actually doing the work. We call it creative avoidance. And I want to tee this conversation up by this. There's a great blog post on strangestloop.io. They've got some really good blogs. And here's what they said, right? These were all things that take us away from being really productive. I loved it. They said, preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Fantasizing about all the adoration you'll receive once you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how other people are achieving doing the thing isn't doing the thing. The only thing is doing the thing is doing the thing. I love it because this is a great definition of creative avoidance. And real estate agents are the best at it. And being the best at it is not a good thing, let me tell you. So here's what we see every single day. It's exactly what that post said. It's like agents they'll come up with anything. They're so creative. That's why I called creative avoidance. It's like, well, I need to, so Brandon, Ben, who should I call? Then you tell them who to call. Then they're like, well, okay, well, what do I say? What's the perfect script? Then you give them the script. And it's like, okay, now all your problem solved, right? You're going to start calling these people? No, well, no, not yet. How do I deliver the script? Well, here's how you deliver the script. Okay, you're going to start now, right? No. What are other people saying? What if the prospect says this? How do you respond? Well, this is how you would respond. Now you're going to start making the calls, right? No, not yet. Where do I get the data? Well, here's where you get the data. Well, if the data says this, how should I approach it's just one thing after the next as to all these things that we come up with. And it's not like here's the interesting piece, Ben. The person doing that isn't conscious about avoiding. They're actually believing these things that they're coming up with as valid reasons on why they shouldn't be doing the thing. And so the counter to this is it's really just, perfectionism, right? And perfectionism is procrastination in disguise, AKA creative avoidance. And so what are your thoughts on this? And then we'll go really, really deep on how someone can move forward.
Yeah. So creative avoidance, I think, is like phase 2 of procrastination, right? I guess the way you would categorize procrastination is the not cause of it, or the not danger of it, is the fact that you're aware of it, right? I'm home. I know I need to do the dishes. I'm aware of that, and I'm deliberately not going to do that, right? Where creative avoidance, the danger, I think, is it's unconscious, right?
That's right.
You create this story in your head that what you're doing is important. And a lot of times it is important, and it is something that needs to potentially get done. You're just doing it in the completely wrong order. And it's not the most valuable thing that you need to be doing right now. Right.
That's right.
So and often it's it's a way to get away from fear or pain. And that's what you're ultimately like while you're prioritizing things the way that you are.
Yeah. And here's how I see prioritization of doing versus not doing. This is where the disease of knowledge kicks in the second part of disease of knowledge. Yeah. The other part of this is the person who there's two paths. One person says to themselves and logically convinces themselves of this path, and that path being, I'm not going to do anything until I really learn as much as possible, because it just makes sense. Like, I'm not going to call somebody, I'm not going to start prospecting, I'm not going to make these calls until I know, exactly what I'm going to say, because I don't want to feel stupid. I don't want to do any of that stuff. And I'm going to learn about the entire follow-up system. I'm going to learn the full listing presentation. I'm going to learn all of that for as long as possible before I do anything. And then there's another agent who takes a different path, who says, I know I don't know a lot. I don't know what I don't know, but I'm going to do the thing. And in this case, we're talking about picking up the phone and making the phone call. I'm going to make the call anyways, because the learning is in the doing. Now, here's what happens. I think for the audience sake, they would say, well, Brandon, I don't know about that. I mean, I think I'm more like Agent 1, who would want to learn a little bit before I start, jumping in the deep end. Well, here's what I want them to consider. I want them to consider this. In Agent A's story, who, let's just say they take 60 days to learn as much as they want to learn before they make their first call. And is it fair that after learning as much as possible, you got all the knowledge, you go to make your first call? Is it fair to assume that you're still going to feel nervous, that you're still going to have call reluctance, that call probably most likely is still going to suck because you haven't done it yet? It's like learning a golf swing, and all the textbooks, and you've watched all the videos, you've read all the books, but then when you go to swing the club, you don't hit it 300 yards, do you? Right? So that's one agent's story. The other agent, who makes the call right now, no script, doesn't know what to say, doesn't know what to do at the appointment. Can we also agree that call is also going to suck? So both cases are bad. However, here's what happens. Agent B, over that same 60-day period, who's taking action, who's actually doing the thing, while Agent A is just learning what to do, they both, time is still going by. And at the end of 60 days, Agent B now has a lot more experience while they were learning, so that on day 61, Agent B uses their knowledge and their experience. Now their skill set is light years ahead of the agent who's just been learning but's never done the thing. They're still starting at ground zero. It's like you didn't lose anything. It was a net zero, because your calls are going to suck. No, you're not going to get the listing. No, you're not going to know what to do. But Agent B got all the benefit of getting the reps, getting the war wounds, having real conversations with real people. They lost nothing. They lost nothing, because that's what the agent's worried about. What if I get an appointment and I lose it? Well, if you don't call and you don't go on the appointment, you're definitely not going to get it, right? So in option B, it's still net the same. However, you come out with a lot more experience. That's the way I look at this.
That's right. And just like on the coaching call, you were telling this student that, hey, when you do get to actually learning that piece, the listing presentation, because that was the thing. What if I set the appointment, I go on the appointment, I have no idea what to do and how to do it. It's like, well, great. You don't get it. You're at the same place, what you were just saying. But now when we do dive in and really structure a solid listing presentation together, you have context to an actual appointment. You have context to, oh, that makes sense why we're structuring this introduction the way we are, or this price analysis the way we are, because you've lived it, you've been there and done it.
Great point. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when Betty Sue, I was trying to say this about that, and now I know why we talk about price bracketing the way that you just taught me. Versus the person who learns it with no context, they're like, price bracketing, what are we even talking about? It's like, and then they go try to do it and they fumble through all the stuff for the first time. They're like, geez, that's, so the big idea is understanding and being self-aware of like, okay, it's all about keeping the main thing the main thing. It's addition by subtraction. It's saying, okay, I've got all this stuff on my mind that I could do. And the exercise for the audience to do is to go through and do what I would call a prioritization audit, to your point, to say, here are all the things I could do today. But I want them to ask this one question. If the result that you're looking for is to go out there and secure a listing, which I hope that's what it is, you have to ask yourself, okay, if I didn't do this thing, could I still get a listing? If the answer is yes, it comes off the list. And what you're going to find is you're going to come down to only a handful of things that actually move the needle, which is like, if I didn't talk to homeowners, could I get a listing? The answer is no. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing that we're talking about. Everything else it's not that it's not important. And Ben, that was to your point. It's just that it doesn't need to take prioritization over the main thing. And the main thing, when you boil it all down to every real estate agent's business, there's nothing more important than having conversations with people about moving. You can't, there's no way to get around it. And so that's got to be the thing. So no matter where you are in your process of your journey of learning or where you're at in your career, the most important thing that we've got to get done is having these conversations. Once the conversations have been had, then you can start to prioritize some of these other things that are important, as Stephen Covey would outline it, right? And that's what the whole point of this conversation is about. Because I think so many agents, if they're being honest and they look at how they're spending their time, they spend very little time in doing the main thing, the thing that actually gets them results. And they spend a lot of time in the important, non-urgent categories because they trick themselves in believing they're being productive when they're actually not doing the thing. You know, it's amazing what happens. So,
and we're in the worst industry of all for that, right? There's constantly non-important, tons of urgent things that are flying across your desk all day long. So to be disciplined and to delay those things till later, come back to them, can be challenging. But that is what separates. I don't think it's like the will or the knowledge or the skill that separates these super top producers from a top producer. It's the ability to navigate distraction, right?
Yeah.
And stick to the schedule. And I mean, avoid creative avoidance.
Yeah. It's just about, it's about like choice management. It's not about time management, you know, it's about the choices you make with the time we all have and where are you spending your time. And you'll clearly see, you know, you go and visit a top producer who's making $1 million a year. And then you compare that to what you're doing, and it will be so obvious. It will be just like blatantly obvious. Like, wow, they just had 57 conversations. I haven't had 57 conversations this year with people that are looking to buy and sell. He just did this or she just did this in one day. So, of course, you guys both at the same time, you both worked a 10-hour day. They just chose to do things differently that you chose not to do. And going back to, you know, the many distractions of being in the business that we're in, you know, the other big challenge is no one's making you do the thing. You know, you're an independent contractor. You're your own business owner. You get to make your own decision. And I think the reality is it's like path of least resistance. You know, why would I have these conversations that are very difficult to have, filled with rejection, when I can go, you know, make a TikTok video or go make a website or go to this broker training or work on this marketing campaign or build a logo, or you can keep going, or a lot of these other things that don't bring us any pain, right? Because it's also pain avoidance, you know? It's like I can come up with a whole laundry list of things I'd rather be doing. You know, and that's what I posted last night. I don't know if you saw it. Or
simply just structure too, right? Like I don't have somebody telling me I've got a call from 8 to 10 and now I'm doing it because I have a fear of losing my job, right? You're like, oh, I've got all day, and you delay. And then you figure out that nobody's standing over your shoulder, making sure that you did it. And then you stop and never do it.
That's right. And it's like, yeah, if you start to prioritize these non-urgent things ahead of the important urgent things like talking to people, you're not going to come back around and do it. You're just not. The day's going to get away from you. Too many things will pop up. That's why there's an entire book that Brian Tracy wrote on this very topic called Eat That Frog. It's the whole book, 100 and some pages on doing the most important thing first thing in the morning, because there's just too much evidence that we have that you're just not going to come back to it, period. And I guess I'll leave the audience with this. This is what I posted in the group. When it comes to being super productive, it's like there's pain associated with doing things that actually get us the result that we say that we want. And so here's a thought that I always think about. You're on your fitness journey and there's people just doing different things, right? I always say, like it or not, where we're at right now, the results that we have right now, the way that we look, the money we earn, the way in which where we live, all of that is simply a byproduct of, well, a couple things are what we're committed to or not committed to, and our ability to decide what we're willing to put up with, the pain, right? And so if anybody's listening or watching, it's a really good self-awareness exercise to say, okay, if I'm not where I want to be, but I say I want these other results, I have to first be self-aware around, okay, what am I willing to put up with in order to get what I say I want? But where I'm at today is evidence of what I'm willing to put up with, right? That's the whole pain, pleasure pendulum, right? Little bit of pain. If you're only willing to go through a little bit of pain, you're not going to get so much more on the reward side. It's impossible. That's not how it works. And so you can only control, the pain you put yourself in. I look at what you're going through, what you're eating, how much you push it at the gym will determine how much muscle you put on or not to put on, right? Mm-hmm. How much transformation you'll make. It's the same thing with a real estate agent. If depending on how much you prospect, how many people you talk to, that's the one thing will determine how many houses you sell and how much money you make. It's that simple. And if you can't withstand the pain of having lots and lots and lots of conversation because you don't like how it feels, it's okay, but we can't expect greatness on the other side either.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, and in just final thing too is you can't say it's your main thing and then allow all these other things to pull you from it at the same time. It's the art of saying no, taking things away and just laser focusing on the main thing.
What we do is proof of what we're committed to, not what we say.